Ulysses, Chapter 11, by James Joyce. Bronze by gold heard the hoof irons steely ringing. Impertha-thun, thun-thun-thun, chips, picking chips off rocky thumbnail, chips, horrid, and gold flushed more. A husky fife note blue, blue, blue bloom is on thee, gold pinnacled hair. A jumping rose on satiny breast of satin, rose of Castile. Trilling, trilling, I Dolores. Peep, who's in the peep of gold? Tink cried to bronze in pity, and a coal pure, long and throbbing, longing dying coal. Decoy, soft word, but look, the bright stars fade. Notes chirruping answered. O Rose Castile, the morn is breaking. Jingle, jingle, jaunted, jingling. Coin rang, clock clacked, avowal. Son as I could, rebounder of garter, not leave there smack. La cloche, thigh smack, avowal warm. Sweetheart, goodbye. Jingle blue, boomed crashing chords when love absorbs. War, war, the tympanum, a sail, a veil, a wave upon the waves. Lost, thrustle fluted, all is lost now. Horn, hawthorn, when first he saw a lass, full tub, full throb, warbling, alluring. Martha, come, clap, clap, clip, clap, clappy, clap. Good God, Henev heard it all. Deaf, bold Pat brought pad knife, took up a moonlit night call, far, far. I feel so sad. P.S. So lonely blooming. Listen, the spiked and winding cold sea horn. Have you the each and for other plash and silent roar? Pearls when she leasts rhapsodies hiss. You don't? Did not? No, no, believe. Lid, with a cock with a cara, black, deep sounding, do, ben, do. Wait while you wait. Hee. Wait while you hee, but wait. Low and dark middle earth embedded ore. Namine Damini, preacher is he, all gone, all fallen. Tiny, her tremulous fern foils of maiden hair. Amen, he gnashed in fury. Fro to fro, a baton cool protruding. Bronze Lydia by minor gold, by bronze, by gold, in ocean green of shadow, bloom, oh, old bloom. One rapped, one tapped, with a cara, with a cock. Pray for him, pray, good people, his gouty fingers knackering. Big Ben a Ben, Big Ben Ben, last rose Castile of summer left bloom. I feel so sad alone. Pee. Little wind-piped wee. True men, Lidker, cow, dee and doll. Aye, like you men, who lift your stink with stunk. Pfiff. Ooh. We're bronze from an ear, we're gold from afar, we're hoofs. Repro, cra, crando. Then not till then, my epifat chaff. Be frit. Done. Begin. Bronze by gold, Miss Douce's head by Miss Kennedy's head, over the crossblind of the Ormond bar, heard the vice-regal hoofs go by, ringing steel. Is that her? Asked Miss Kennedy. When all agog, Miss Douce said eagerly, Look at the fellow in the tall silk. Who? Where? Gold asked more eagerly. In the second carriage, Miss Douce's wet lips said, laughing in the sun. He's looking. Mind till I see. She darted bronze to the backmost corner, flattening her face against the pane in a halo of hurried breath. Her wet lips tittered. He's killed looking back. She laughed, oh, wept. Aren't men frightful idiots? With sadness. Miss Kennedy sauntered sadly from bright light, twining a loose hair behind an ear. Sauntering sadly, gold no more. She twined a hair, sadly she twined, and sauntering gold hair behind a curving ear. It's them has the fine times. Sadly then, she said. A man. Blue Hoo went bye-bye, Moulang's pipes bearing in his breast the sweets of sin, by wine's antiques, in memory bearing sweet, sinful words, by Carol's dusky, battered plate, for Raoul. The boots to them in the bar, them barmaids come. For them, unheeding him, he banged on the counter, his tray of chattering china. And there's your tea, he said. Miss Kennedy, with manners transposed, the tea tray down to an upturned lithia crate, safe from eyes, low. What is it? Loud Boots unmannerly asked. Find out, Miss Douce retorted, leaving her spying point. Your beau, is it? A haughty Bronze replied. I'll complain to Mrs. Demassy on you if I hear any more of your impertinent insolence. Imperthnthun, Boots sniffed rudely as he retreated as she threatened as he had come. Bloom. On her flower frowning, Miss Douce said, Most aggravating that young brat is. If he doesn't conduct himself, I'll wring his ear for him a yard long. Ladylike in exquisite contrast. Take no notice, Miss Kennedy rejoined. She poured in a teacup, then back in the teapot tea. They cowered under their reef of counter, waiting on footstools, grates upturned, waiting for their teas to draw. They poured their blouses, both of black satin, 2 and 9 a yard, waiting for their teas to draw, and 2 and 7. Yes, bronze from an ear, by gold from afar, heard steel from a near, hoofs ring from afar, and heard steel hoofs, hoof ring steel. Am I awfully sunburnt? Miss Bronze unbloused her neck. No, said Miss Kennedy. It gets brown after. Did you try the borax with the cherry laurel water? Miss Douce half stood to see her skin askance in the bar mirror, gilded lettered, where hawk and claret glasses shimmered, and in their midst a shell. And leave it to my hands, she said. Try it with the glycerin, Miss Kennedy advised, bidding her neck and hands adieu, Miss Douce. Those things only bring out a rash, replied, reseated. I asked that old fogey in Boyd's for something for my skin. Miss Kennedy, pouring now a full-drawn tea, grimaced and prayed, Oh, don't remind me of him, for mercy's sake. But wait till I tell you, Miss Douce entreated. Sweet tea, Miss Kennedy, having poured with milk, plugged both 2 ears with little fingers. No, don't, she cried. I won't listen. But Bloom? Miss Douce grunted in snuffy fogey's tone. For your what? Says he. Miss Kennedy unplugged her ears to hear, to speak, but prayed again. Don't let me think of him or I'll expire. The hideous old wretch, that night in the ante concert rooms. She sipped distastefully her brew, hot tea, a sip sipped sweet tea. Here he was, Miss Douce said, cocking her bronze head 3/4, ruffing her nose wings. Huffa, huffa! Shrill shriek of laughter sprang from Miss Kennedy's throat. Miss Douce huffed and snorted down her nostrils, that quivered impertinent, like a snout in quest. Oh, shrieking Miss Kennedy cried, will you ever forget his goggle eye? Miss Douce chimed in bronze deep laughter, shouting, and your other eye. Blue Who's dark eye read Aaron Figganter's name. Why do I always think fig gather? Gathering figs, I think. And Prosper Laurie's Huguenot name, by Bassie's blessed virgin Bloom's dark eyes went by. Blue-robed, white under, come to me. God they believe she is, or goddess. Those today I could not see. That fellow spoke, a student, after with Daedalus's son. He might be Mulligan, all comely virgins, that brings those rakes of fellows in her white. By went his eyes, the sweets of sin. Sweet are the sweets of sin. In a giggling peal, young gold bronze voices blended. Deuce with Kennedy, your other eye. They threw young heads back, bronze giggle gold, to let free fly their laughter, screaming your other signals to each other. High piercing notes. Ah, panting, sighing, ah, fordone. Their mirth died down. Miss Kennedy lipped her cup again, raised, drank a sip, and giggled. Miss Douce, bending over the tea tray, ruffled again her nose and rolled droll, fattened eyes. Again Kenny giggles, stooping, her fair pinnacles of hair, stooping, her tortoise nape cone showed, spluttered out of her mouth her tea, choking in tea and laughter, coughing with choking, crying. Oh, greasy eyes, imagine being married to a man like that, she cried, with his bit of beard. Deuce gave full vent to a splendid yell, a full yell of full woman delight, joy, indignation. Married to the greasy nose, she yelled, shrill with deep laughter after. Gold after bronze, they urged each other to peal after peal, ringing in changes, bronze, gold, bronze, shrill, deep, to laughter after laughter, and then laughed more, greasy, eye-nose, exhausted, breathless, their shaken heads they had, laid, braided, and pinnacled, by glossy combed against the counter-ledge, all flushed, oh, panting, sweating, oh, all breathless, married to Bloom, to Greaser Bloom. Oh, saints above, Miss Douce said, sighing above her jumping rose, I wish I hadn't laughed so much. I feel all wet. Oh, Miss Douce, Miss Kennedy protested, you horrid thing, and flushed yet more, you horrid, more goldenly. By Cantwell's office roved Greaser Bloom, by Cheppy's virgins, bright of their oils. Nanetti's father hawked those things about, wheedling at doors as I. Religion pays, must see him for that par. Eat first, I want. Not yet. At 4, she said. Time ever passing. Clock hands turning on. Where eat? The Clarence Dolphin on. For Raoul, eat. If I net 5 guineas with those ads, the violet silk petticoats. Not yet. The sweets of sin. Flushed less, still less. Goldenly paled. Into their bar strolled Mr. Daedalus. Chips, picking chips off one of his rocky thumbnails. Chips, he strolled. Oh, welcome back, Miss Douce. He held her hand. Enjoyed her holidays. Tip-top. He hoped she had a nice weather in Roche-Revaux. Gorgeous, she said. Look at the holy show I am, lying out on the strand all day. Bronze whiteness. That was exceedingly naughty of you, Mr. Daedalus told her, and pressed her hand indulgently, tempting poor, simple males. Miss Douce of Satin deuced her arm away. Oh, go away, she said. You're very simple, I don't think. He was. Well, now I am, he mused. I looked so simple in the cradle they christened me Simple Simon. You must have been a doty, Miss Douce made answer. And what did the doctor order today? Well now, he mused, whatever you say yourself. I think I'll trouble you for some fresh water and a half glass of whiskey. Jingle. With the greatest alacrity, Miss Douce agreed. With grace of alacrity, Towards the mirror-gilt Cantrell in Cochrane's she turned herself. With grace she tapped a measure of gold whiskey from her crystal keg. Forth from the skirt of his coat, Mr. Dedalus brought pouch and pipe. Alacrity she served. He blew through the flue 2 husky fife tones. By Jove, he mused, I often wanted to see the Mourne Mountains. Must be a great tonic in the air down there. But a long threatening comes at last, they say. Yes, yes, yes. He fingered shreds of hair, her maiden hair, her mermaid's, into the bowl. Chips, shreds, musing, mute. None naught, said nothing. Yes. Gaily Miss Douce polished a tumbler, trilling, O I Dolores, queen of the eastern seas. Was Mr. Lidwell in today? In came Lenehan. Round him peered Lenchen. Mr. Bloom reached Essex Bridge. Yes, Mr. Bloom crossed Bridge of Essex. To Martha I must write, by paper, dailies. Grow there, civil. Bloom, old Bloom, blue bloom is on the rye. He was in at lunchtime, Miss Douce said. Lenehan came forward. Was Mr. Boylan looking for me? He asked. She answered, Miss Kennedy, was Mr. Boylan in while I was upstairs? She asked. Miss Voice of Kennedy answered, a second teacup poised, her gaze upon a page. No, he was not. Miss Gaze of Kennedy heard, not seen, read on. Lenehan round the sandwich bell wound his round body round. Peep, who's in the corner? No glance of Kennedy rewarding him, he yet made overtures to mind her stops, to read only the black ones. Round O and crooked S, jingle, jointed jingle. Girl gold, she read and did not glance. Take no notice. She took no notice while he read by rote a sofa fable for her, plappering flatly. A fox met a stork, said the fox to the stork, will you put your bill down in my troth and pull up a bone? He droned in vain. Miss Douce turned her tea aside. He sighed aside. Ah, me, oh my. He greeted Mr. Dedalus and got a nod. Greetings from the famous son of a famous father. Who may he be? Mr. Dedalus asked. Lenehan opened most genial arms. Who? Who may he be, he asked. Can you ask? Stephen, the youthful bard. Dry. Mr. Dedalus, famous father, laid by his dry-filled pipe. I see, he said. I didn't recognize him for the moment. I hear he is keeping very select company. Have you seen him lately? He had. I quaffed the nectar bowl with him this very day, said Lenehan, in Mooney's en Ville and in Mooney's sous mer. He had received the rhino for the labor of his muse. He smiled at Bronze's tea-bathed lips, at listening lips and eyes. The elite of Erin hung upon his lips, the ponderous pundit Hugh McHugh, Dublin's most brilliant scribe and editor, and that minstrel boy of the wild, wet West, who was known by the euphonious appellation of the O'Madden Burke. After an interval, Mr. Dedalus raised his grog, and that must have been highly diverting, said he. I see. He drank with faraway morning mountain eye, set down his glass. He looked towards the saloon door. I see you've moved the piano. The tuner was in today, Douce replied, tuning it for the smoking concert, and I never heard such an exquisite player. Is that a fact? Didn't he, Miss Kennedy? The real classical, you know, and blind too, poor fellow. Not 20, I'm sure he was. Is that a fact? Mr. Dedalus said. He drank and strayed away. So sad to look at his face, Miss Douce condoled. God's curse on bitch's bastard. Tink, to her pity, cried a diner's bell. To the door of the bar and dining room came bold Pat, came bothered Pat, came Pat, waiter of Ormond. Lager for diner. Lager without alacrity she served. With patience, Lenehan waited for Boylan with impatience. For jingle jaunty Blazes boy. Upholding the lid, he who gazed in the coffin, at the oblique triple piano wires. He pressed, the same who pressed indulgently her hand, soft pedaling a triple of keys to see the thicknesses of felt advancing, to hear the muffled hammer fall in action. 2 sheets cream vellum paper, 1 reserve, 2 envelopes when I was in Wisdom Haley's wise bloom, in Daly's Henry Flower bought. Are you not happy in your home? Flower to console me, and a pin cuts low. Means something, language aflow. Was it a daisy? Innocence, that is. Respectable girl meet after mass. Thanks awfully muchly. Wise bloom eyed on the door a poster, a swaying mermaid smoking mid nice waves. Smoke mermaid's coolest whiff of all. Hair streaming, lovelorn, for some man, for Raoul. He eyed and saw afar an Essex bridge, a gay hat riding on a jaunting car. It is, again, 3rd time, coincidence. Jingling on supple rubbers, it jaunted from the bridge to Ormond Quay. Follow, risk it, go quick, at 4, near now, out. 2 pence, sir, the shop girl dared to say. Aha, I was forgetting, excuse. And 4. At 4, she, winsomely she was, on blue him whom smiled. Blue smy quai go, ternoon. Think you're the only pebble on the beach? Does that to all, for men. In drowsy silence, gold bent on her page. From the saloon a call came, long in dying. That was a tuning fork the tuner had, that he forgot that he now struck, a call again, that he now poised, that it now throbbed. You hear? It throbbed, pure, purer, softly and softlier, its buzzing prongs, longer in dying call. Pat paid for Diner's pop-corked bottle. And over tumbler, tray, and pop-cork bottle, ere he went, he whispered, bold and bothered with Miss Douce, the bright stars fade. A voiceless song sang from within, singing, the morn is breaking. A duodene of bird notes chirruped a bright treble. Answer, under sensitive hands, brightly the keys all twinkling, linked, all harpsichording, called to a voice to sing the strain of dewy morn, of youth, of love's leave-taking, life's, love's morn, the dewdrop's pearl. Lenehan's lips over the counter lisped a low whistle of decoy. But look this way, he said, Rose of Castile. Jingle jaunted by the curb and stopped. She rose and closed her reading. Rose of Castile, fretted, forlorn, dreamily rose. Did she fall, or was she pushed? He asked. She answered, sliding, ask no questions, and you'll hear no lies. Like ladylike. Blazes Boylan's smart tan shoes creaked on the bar floor where he strode. Yes, gold from anear by bronze from afar. Lenehan heard and knew and hailed him. See, the conquering hero comes. Between the car and window, warily walking, went Bloom, unconquered hero. See, me, he might. The seat he sat on warm, black, wary, he catwalked towards Richie Goulding's legal bag, lifted aloft, saluting, and I from thee. I heard you were round, said Blazes Boylan. He touched to fair Miss Kennedy a rim of his slanted straw. She smiled on him, but Sister Bronze outsmiled her, preening for him her richer hair, a bosom and a rose. Smart Boylan bespoke potions. What's your cry? Glass of bitter, please, and a slow gin for me. Wirin yet? Not yet. At 4, she. Who said 4? Cowley's red lugs and bulging apple in the door of the sheriff's office. Avoid, Goulding a chance. What is he doing in the Ormond? Car waiting. Wait. Hello? Where off to? Something to eat? I too was just. In here. What? Ormond? Best value in Dublin. Is that so? Dining room. Sit tight there. See? Not be seen. I think I'll join you. Come on. Richie led on. Bloom followed bag. Dinner fit for a prince. Miss Douce reached high to take a flagon, stretching her satin arm, her bust, that all but burst so high. Oh, jerked Lenehan, gasping at each stretch. Oh. But easily she seized her prey and let it low in triumph. Why don't you grow? Asked Blazes Boylan. She-bronze, dealing from her oblique jar thick syrupy liquor for his lips, looked as it flowed. Flower in his coat, who gave him? And syruped with her voice. Fine, good in small parcels. That is to say, neatly she poured, slow, syrupy, slow. Here's fortune, Blazes said. He pitched a broad coin down. Coin rang. Hold on, said Lenehan, till I... Fortune, he wished, lifting his bubbled ale. Sceptre will win in a canter, he said. I plunged a bit, said Boylan, winking and drinking. Not on my own, you know, fancy of a friend of mine. Lenehan still drank and grinned at his tilted ale and at Miss Douce's lips that all but hummed, not shut, the ocean song her lips had trilled. Ah, Dolores, the eastern seas. Clockward, Miss Kennedy passed their way, flower a wonder who gave, bearing away tea-tray. Clock clacked. Miss Douce took Boylan's coin, struck boldly the cash register. It clanged. Clock clacked. Fair one of Egypt teased and sorted in the till and hummed and handed coins and change. Look to the west. A clack for me. What time's that? Asked Blazes Boylan. 4? 'Clock. Lenehan, small eyes a hunger on her humming, bust a humming, tugged Blazes Boylan's elbow sleeve. Let's hear the time, he said. The bag of Goulding, Collis Ward, led Bloom by Rye Bloom flowered tables. Aimless he chose with agitated aim, bald Pat attending, a table near the door. Be near, at 4. Has he forgotten? Perhaps a trick, not come with appetite. I couldn't do. Wait, Pat. Waiter waited. Sparkling bronze azure-eyed blazures, sky blue bow, and eyes. Go on, pressed Lenehan. There's no one. He never heard. To Flora's lips did high. High, a high note pealed in the treble clear. Bronze Douce communing with her rose that sank and rose, sought Blazes Boylan's flower and eyes. Please, please, he pleaded, over returning phrases of avowal. I could not leave thee. After wits, Miss Douce promised coyly. No, now, urged Lenehan. Sonne la cloche. Oh, do. There's no one. She looked, quick. Miss Ken, out of earshot, sudden bent. 2 kindling faces watched her bend. Quavering the chord strayed from the air, found it again. Lost chord and lost and found it. Faltering. Go on, do, sonnes. Bending, she nipped a peak of skirt above her knee, delayed, taunted them still, bending, suspending with willful eyes. Sonnes! Smack. She set free, sudden in rebound, her nipped elastic garter smack warm against her smackable a woman's warm hose thigh. La cloche! Cried gleeful Lenehan, trained by owner. No sawdust there. She smiled, smirked, supercilious, wept. Aren't men's, but lightward gilding, gliding, mild, she smiled. Boylan. You're the essence of vulgarity, she in gliding said. Boylan eyed, tossed to fat lips his chalice, drank off his chalice tiny, sucking the last fat violet syrupy drops. His spellbound eyes went after her gliding head as it went down the bar by mirrors, gilded arch for ginger ale, hock and claret glasses shimmering, a spiky shell, where it concerted, mirrored, bronze with sunnier bronze. Yes, bronze from a nearby. Sweetheart, goodbye. I'm off, said Boylan with impatience. He slid his chalice brisk away, grasped his change. Wait a shake, begged Lenehan, drinking quickly. I wanted to tell you, Tom Rochford. Come on to blazes, said Blazes Boylan, going. Lenehan gulped to go. Got the horn or what? He said. Wait, I'm coming. He followed the hasty creaking shoes, but stood by nimbly by the threshold, saluting forms, a bulky with a slender. How do you do, Mr. Dollard? Eh? How do? How do? Ben Dollard's vague bass answered, turning an instant from Father Cowley's woe. He won't give you any trouble, Bob. Alf Bergen will speak to the Longfellow. We'll put a barley straw in that Judas's Iscariot's ear this time. Sighing, Mr. Dedalus came through the saloon, a finger soothing an eyelid. Ho, ho, we will, Ben Dollard yodeled jollily. Come on, Simon, give us a ditty. We heard the piano. Bald Pat, bothered waiter, waited for drink orders. Power for Ritchie and Bloom. Let me see. Not make him walk twice. His corns, 4 now. How warm this black is. Coarse nerves a bit. Refracts, is it? Heat. Let me see. Cider. Yes, bottle of cider. What's that? Mr. Dedalus said. I was only vamping, man. Come on, Ben Dollard called. Begone, dull care. Come, Bob. He ambled Dollard, bulky slops, before them. Hold that fellow hold him now, into the saloon. He plumped him Dollard on the stool. His gouty paws plumped chords, plumped, stopped, abrupt. Pat Bold in the doorway met tealess gold returning. Bothered, he wanted power and cider. Bronze by the window watched, bronze from afar. Jingle-a-tinkle jaunted. Bloom heard a jing, a little sound. He's off, light sob of breath. Bloom sighed, and on the silent blue-hued flowers. Jingling, he's gone. Jingle. Here. Love and war. Ben, Mr. Dedalus said, God be with the old times. Miss Douce's brave eyes, unregarded, turned from the cross-blind, smitten by sunlight. Gone. Pensive. Who knows? Smitten, the smiting light. She lowered the drop line with a sliding cord. She drew down, pensive. Why did he go so quick when About her bronze, over the bar where Bold stood by Sister Gold. Inexquisite contrast, contrast inexquisite, non-exquisite, slow, cool, dim, sea green, sliding depth of shadow. Old Neil, poor old Goodwin, was the pianist that night. Father Cowley reminded them. There was a slight difference of opinion between himself and the Collard Grand. There was. A symposium all his own, Mr. Dedalus said. The devil wouldn't stop him. He was a crotchety old fellow in the primary stage of drink. God, do you remember? Ben Bulky Dollard said, turning from the punished keyboard. And by japers, I had no wedding garment. They laughed, all three. He had no wed. All trio laughed. No wedding garment. Our friend Bloom turned in handy that night, Mr. Dedalus said. Where's my pipe, by the way? He wandered back to the bar, to the lost cord pipe. Pold Bat carried 2 diners' drinks, Ritchie and Poldy. And Father Cowley laughed again. I saved the situation, Ben, I think. You did, averred Ben Dollard. I remember those tight trousers, too. That was a brilliant idea, Bob. Father Cowley blushed to his brilliant purply lobes. He saved the sitcho tight, true, brilliant-eyed. I knew he was on the rocks, he said. The wife was playing the piano in the Coffee Palace on Saturdays for a very trifling consideration. And who was it give me the wheeze that she was doing the other business? Do you remember? We had to search all Hollis Street to find them, till the chap in Keogh's gave us the number. Remember? Ben remembered, his broad visage wondering. By God, she had some luxurious opera cloaks and things there. Mr. Dedalus wandered back, pipe in hand. Marion Square-style ball dresses, by God, and court dresses. He wouldn't take any money either, what? Any God's quantity of cocked hats and boleros and truncos. What? Aye, Mr. Dedalus nodded. Mrs. Marion Bloom has left off clothes of all descriptions. Jingle jaunted down the quays, blazes sprawled on bounding tires. Liver and bacon, steak and kidney pie. Right, sir. Right, Pat. Mrs. Marion. Met him pike hoses. Smell of burn. Of Paul de Kock. Nice name, he. What's this her name was? A buxy lassie. Marion. Tweedy. Yes! Is she alive? And kicking. She was a daughter of the regiment. Yes, begad, I remember the old drum major. Mr. Dedalus struck, wheezed, lit, puffed, savory puff after. Irish. I don't know, Faith. Is she? Simon? Puff after puff, a puff strong, savory, crackling. Butchinator muscle is, what? Bit rusty, oh, she is, my Irish Molly-O. He puffed a pungent plumy blast from the rock of Gibraltar, all the way. They pined in depth of ocean shadow, gold by the beer pool, bronze by maraschino, thoughtful, all too. Mina Kennedy, 4 Lismore Terrace, Drumcondra with Idolores, a queen, Dolores, silent. Pat served uncovered dishes. Leopold cut liver slices. As said before, he ate with relish the inner organs, nutty gizzards, fried cod's roes, while Richie Goulding, Collis Ward, ate steak and kidney. Steak, then kidney, bite by bite of pie. He ate, Bloom ate, they ate. Bloom with Goulding, married in silence, ate. Dinners fit for princes. By Bachelor's Walk, jog jaunty jingled blazes boilin', bachelor and sun in heat, mare's glossy rump a trot, with flick of whip, on bounding tires, sprawled, warm-seated, boilin' in patience, ardent bold, horn. Have you thee, horn? Have you thee, horn? Over their voices, dullard bassooned attack, booming over bombarding chords. When love absorbs my ardent soul, roll of Ben-Sol Benjamin, roll to the quivery, love-shivery roof panes. War, war, cried Father Cowley. You're the warrior. So I am, Ben Warrior laughed. I was thinking of your landlord. Love or money? He stopped. He wagged huge beard, huge face over his blunder huge. Sure, you'd burst the tympanum of your ear, man, Mr. Dedalus said through smoke aroma, with an organ like yours. In bearded, abundant laughter, Dullard shook upon the keyboard. He would, not to mention another membrane, Father Cowley added. Half-time Ben, amoroso ma non troppo. Let me there. Miss Kennedy served 2 gentlemen with tankards of cool stout. She passed a remark. It was indeed, first gentleman said, beautiful weather. They drank cool stout. Did she know where the Lord Lieutenant was going? And heard steel hoofs, ring hoof ring. No, she couldn't say, but it would be in the paper. Oh, she need not trouble, no trouble. She waved about her outspread independence, searching. The Lord Lieutenant, her pinnacles of hair slow-moving. Lord Luton. Too much trouble, first gentleman said. Oh, not in the least. Way he looked at, Lord Lieutenant, gold by bronze, heard from steel. My ardent soul, I care not for o'er the morrow. In liver gravy, Bloom mashed potatoes. Love and war, someone is. Ben Dollard's favorite. Nighty ran round to us to borrow a dress suit for that concert. Trousers tight as a drum on him. Musical porkers. Molly did laugh when he went out, threw herself back across the bed, screaming, kicking, with all his belongings on show. Oh, saints above, I'm drenched. Oh, the woman in the front row. Oh, I never laughed so much. Well, of course, that's what gives him the bass barrel tone. For instance, eunuchs. Whoever's playing, nice touch, must be Cowley, musical, knows whatever note you play. Bad breath he has, poor chap. Stopped. Miss Douce engaging Lydia Douce, bowed to suave solicitor George Lidwell. Gentleman, entering. Good afternoon. She gave her moist, a lady's hand to his firm clasp. Afternoon, yes, she was back, to the old ding-dong again. Your friends are inside, Mr. Lidwell. George Lidwell, suave, solicited, held Lydia hand. Jingle. Bloom ate live, as said before, clean here at last. That chap in the Burton, gummy with gristle. No one here. Goulding and I, clean tables, flowers. Miters of napkins, pat to and fro, bold pat, nothing to do, best value in dub. Piano again, Cowley it is, way he sits into it, like one together, mutual understanding. Tiresome shapers scraping fiddles, eye on the bow end, sawing the cello, remind you of toothache. Her high, long snore. Night we were in the box, trombone underblowing like a grampus. Between the acts. Other brass chap, unscrewing, emptying spittle, conductor's legs too, bags trousers. Jiggity-jiggity. Too right to hide them. Jiggity-jingle, jaunty-jaunty, only the harp lovely, gold-glowering light. Girl touched it, poop of a lovely, gravy's rather good fit for. Golden ship, Erin, the harp that once or twice, cool hands, Ben Houth, the rhododendrons. We are their harps, I, he, old, young. I couldn't, man, Mr. Dedalus said, shy, listless, strongly. Go on, blast you. Ben Dollard growled. Get it out in bits. Mia pari, Simon, Father Cowley said. Downstage he strode some paces, grave, tall in affliction, his long arms held out. Hoarsely, the apple of his throat hoarsed softly. Softly he sang to a dusty escape there, a last farewell. A headland, a ship, a sail upon the billows. Farewell. A lovely girl, her veil a wave upon the wind, upon the headland, wind around her. Cowley sang, Mi pari tutto amor, I mio sguardo le contre. She waved, unhearing Cowley, her veil to no one departing, dear one, to wind, love, speeding sail, return. Go on, Simon. Ah, sure, my dancing days are done, Ben. Well. Mr. Dedalus laid his pipe to rest beside the tuning fork and, sitting, touched the obedient keys. No, Simon, Father Cowley turned, played in the original, one flat. The keys, obedient, rose higher, told, faltered, confessed, confused. Upstage strode Father Cowley. Here, Simon, I'll accompany you, he said. Get up. By Graham Lemon's Pineapple Rock, by Elvery's Elephant Jingly jogged. Steak, kidney, liver, mashed. At meat fit for princes sat Princes Bloom and Goulding. Princes at meat they raised and drank. Power inside her. Most beautiful tenor e'er ever written, Richie said. Sonambula. He heard Joe Mass sing that one night. Ah, what McGuckin, yes, in his way, choir boy style. Maz was the boy, Mass boy. A lyrical tenor, if you like. Never forget it. Never. Tenderly Bloom over liverless bacon saw the tightened features strain. Backache he. Bright's bright eye. Next item on the program. Paying the piper. Pills. Pounded bread. Worth a guinea a box. Stave it off a while. Sings, too. Down among the dead men. Appropriate. Kidney pie. Sweets to thee. Not making much hand of it. Best value in. Characteristic of him, power. Particular about his drink, flaw in the glass. Fresh Vartry water. Fecking matches from counters to save. Then squander a sovereign in dribs and drabs. And when he's wanted, not a farthing. Screwed refusing to pay his fare. Curious types. Never would Richie forget that night as long as he lived, never. In the Gods of the Old Royal with Little Peak, and when the first note, speech paused on Richie's lips. Coming out with a whopper now, rhapsodies about damn all. Believes his own lies, does really, wonderful liar. But want a good memory. Which air is that? Asked Leopold. All is lost now. Richie cocked his lips to pout. A low, incipient note, sweet banshee murmured. A thrush, a throstle. His breath, bird sweet, good teeth he's proud of, fluted with plaintive woe. Is lost. Rich sound. 2 notes in one there. Blackbird I heard in the Hawthorne Valley. Taking my motives, he twined and turned them. Almost 2 new call is lost in all. Echo. How sweet the answer. How is that done? All lost now. Mournful he whistled. Fall, surrender. Lost. Bloom bent Leopold's ear, turning a fringe of doily down under the vase. Order. Yes, I remember. Lovely air. In sleep she went to him. Innocence in the moon. Brave. Don't know their danger. Still hold her back. Call name. Touch water. Jingle jaunty. Too late. She longed to go. That's why. Woman. As easy stop the sea. Yes. All is lost. A beautiful air, said Bloom, lost Leopold. I know it well. Never in all his life had Richie Goulding. He knows it well, too, or he feels. Still harping on his daughter. Wise child that knows her father, Daedalus said. Me? Bloom, askance over liverless saw, face of the all is lost. Rollicking Richie once, jokes old stale now, wagging his ear, napkin ring in his eye. Now begging letters he sends his son with. Cross-eyed Walter, sir, I did, sir. Wouldn't trouble only I was expecting some money. Apologize. Piano again. Sounds better than last time I heard. Tuned, probably. Stopped again. Dollard and Cowley still urged the lingering singer out with it. With it, Simon. It, Simon. Ladies and gentlemen, I am most deeply obliged by your kind solicitations. It, Simon. I have no money, but if you will lend me your attention, I shall endeavor to sing to you of a heart bowed down. By the sandwich bell and screening shadow, Lydia, her bronze and rose, a lady's grace, gave and withheld. As in cool glaucous eau de Nil, Mina to tankards, too, her pinnacles of gold. The harping chords of prelude closed. A chord, long drawn, expectant, drew a voice away. When first I saw that form endearing, Richie turned. Sigh Daedalus's voice, he said. Brain-tipped, cheek touched with flame, they listened, feeling that flow, endearing flow over skin, limbs, human heart, soul, spine. Bloom, signed to Pat, bald Pat, is a waiter hard of hearing, to set ajar the door of the bar. The door of the bar, so that will do. Pat, waiter, waited, waiting to hear, for he was hard of hear by the door. Sorrow from me seemed to depart. Through the hush of air a voice sang to them, low, not rain, not leaves, in murmur, like no voice of strings or reeds or what do you call them, dulcimers touching their still ears with words, still hearts of their each his remembered lives. Good to hear. Sorrow from them each seemed to from both depart when first they heard. When first they saw, Lost Richie Poldy. Mercy of beauty. Heard from a person wouldn't expect it in the least. Her first merciful, love-soft, oft-loved word. Love that is singing, love's old sweet song. Bloom unwound slowly the elastic band of his packet. Love's old sweet song, sonnez la gold. Bloom wound a skein round 4 fork fingers, stretched it, relaxed, and wound it round his troubled double, 4-fold in octave, jived them fast. Full of hope and all delighted. Tenors get women by the score, increase their flow, throw flower at his feet. When will we meet? My head it simply. Jingle all delighted. He can't sing for tall hats. Your head is simply swirls. Perfumed for him. What perfume does your wife? I want to know. Jing, stop, knock. Last look at mirror always before she answers the door. The hall. There? How do you? I do well. There, what, or? Vial of Cassius kissing comfits in her satchel. Yes, hands felt for the opulent. Alas, the voice rose, sighing, changed, loud, full, shining, proud. But alas, 'twas idle dreaming. Glorious tone he has still, cork air softer also their brogue. Silly man. Could have made oceans of money singing wrong words. Wore out his wife, now sings, but hard to tell. Only the two themselves, if he doesn't break down. Keep a trot for the avenue. His hands and feet sing too. Drink. Nerves overstrung. Must be as steamiest to sing. Jenny Lind soup, stock, sage, raw eggs. Half pint of cream, for creamy dreamy. Tenderness it welled, slow, swelling, full it throbbed, that's the chat. Ha! Give, take, throb, a pulsing, proud, erect. Words? Music? No, it's what's behind. Bloom, looped, unlooped, noted, disnoted. Bloom. Flood of warm jam, lick it up secretness, flow to flow, in music out. In desire, dark to lick flow invading, tipping her, tapping her, tapping her, topping her, top, pours to dilate, dilating, top, the joy, the feel, the warm, the top, to pour o'er sluices, pouring gushes, flood, gush, flow, joy gush, top throb, now, language of love. Ray of hope it is, beaming, Lydia for Lidwell, squeak, scarcely hear, so ladylike the muse, unsqueaked a ray of hop. Martha it is, coincidence, just going to write Lionel's song, lovely name you have, can't write, except my little prez, play on her heartstrings, purse strings too. She's I called you naughty boy, still the name, Martha, how strange. Today. The voice of Lionel returned, weaker but unwearied. It sang again to Richie Poldy, Lydia, Lidwell. Also sang to Pat, open mouth, ear, waiting to wait. How first he saw that form endearing, how sorrow seemed to part, how look, form, word charmed and gooled. Lidwell won Pan Bloom's heart. Wish I could see his face, though. Explain better why the barber and Dragos always looked for my face when I spoke his face in the glass. Still, hear it better here than in the bar, though farther. Each graceful look. First night when I first saw her at Matt Dillon's in Terranor, yellow-black lace she wore, musical chairs, we to the last, fate after her, fate, round and round slow, quick round, we two all looked, halt, down she sat, all ousted looked, lips laughing, yellow knees, charmed my eye. Singing, waiting, she sang. I turned her music, full voice of perfume. Of what perfume does your lilac trees? Bosom I saw both full, throat warbling. First I saw, she thanked me. Why did she thank me? Fate. Spanishy eyes, under pear tree alone, patio this hour. In old Madrid, one side in shadow, Dolores. She Dolores at me, luring. Ah, a Martha, ah, Martha. Quitting old languor, Lionel cried in grief and cry of passion, dominant to love, to return with deepening yet rising chords of harmony. In cry of Lionel loneliness that she should know, must Martha feel. For only her he waited. Where? Here, there, try there. Here, all try where, somewhere. Come, thou lost one, come, thou dear one. Alone, one love, one hope, one comfort me. Martha, chestnut, return. Come. He soared, a bird. It held its flight, a swift, pure cry. Soar, silver orb, it leaped, serene, speeding, sustained, to come. Don't spin it out too long, long. Breath, he breath, long life. Soaring high, high, resplendent aflame, crowned high in the effulgence, symbolistic, high of the ethereal bosom, high of the high, vast irradiation. Everywhere, all soaring, all around, all about the all, the endlessnesses. To me, Seopold, consumed, come, well sung, all clapped, she ought to. Come, to me, to him, to her, you too, me, us. Bravo, clap, clap, good man, Simon. Clappy, clap, clap, encore. Clap, clip, clap, clap, sound as a bell. Bravo, Simon. Clap, clap, clap. Encore, unclap, said, cried, clapped all. Ben Dullard, Lydia Douce, George Lidwell, Pat, Mina Kennedy, 2 gentlemen with 2 tankards, Cowley, first gent with tank, and bronze Miss Douce and gold Miss Mina. Blazes Boylan, smart tan shoes, creaked on the bar floor, said before, jingle by monuments of Sir John Grey, Horatio one-handled. Nelson, Reverend Father Theobald Matthew jaunted, as said before just now. A trot in heat, heat-seated, cloche. Sonnez-la, cloche, sonnez-la. Slower the mare went uphill by the rotunda. Rutland Square, too slow for Boylan. Blazes Boylan, impatience Boylan. Joggled the mare. An afterclang of Cowley's chords closed, died on the air, made richer. And Richie Goulding drank his power, and Leopold Bloom his cider drank, Lidwell his Guinness. Second gentleman said they would partake of 2 more tankards, if she did not mind. Miss Kennedy smirked, disserving, coral lips at first, at second. She did not mind. 7 days in jail, Ben Dollard said on bread and water. Then you'd sing, Simon, like a garden thrush. Lionel Simon, singer, laughed. Father Bob Cowley played, Mina Kennedy served, second gentleman paid, Tom Kernan strutted in, Lydia admired, but Bloom sang dumb. Admiring, Richie admiring, descanted on that man's glorious voice. He remembered one night long ago, never forget that night, Cy sang 'Twas rank and fame in Ned Lambert's 'Twas. Good God, he never saw it in all his life, a note like that he never did. Then false one, we had better parts so clear to God, he never heard since love lives, not a clinking voice lives not. Ask Lambert. He can tell you too. Goulding, a flush struggling in his pail, told Mr. Bloom, face of the night, Cy in Ned Lambert's Daedalus house sang 'Twas rank and fame. He, Mr. Bloom, listened, while he, Richie Goulding, told him, Mr. Bloom, of the night he, Richie, heard him, Cy Daedalus sing 'Twas rank and fame in his Ned Lambert's house. Brothers-in-law, relations, we never speak as we pass by. Rift in the lute, I think, treats him with scorn, see, he admires him all the more. The nights I sang, the human voice, 2 tiny silky chords, wonderful, more than all others. That voice was a lamentation. Calmer now. It's in the silence after you feel you hear. Vibrations, now silent air. Bloom ungived his crisscrossed hands, and with slack fingers plucked the slender catgut thong. He drew and plucked. It buzzed, it twanged. While Goulding talked of Barraclough's voice production, while Tom Kernan, harking back in a retrospective sort of arrangement, talked to listening Father Cowley, who played a voluntary, who nodded as he played, while Big Ben Dollard talked with Simon Dedalus, lighting, who nodded as he smoked, who smoked. Thou lost one, all songs on that theme. Yet more Bloom stretched his string, cruel it seems. Let people get fond of each other, lure them on, then tear asunder. Death, explos, knock on the head. Out to hell of that, human life, dignum. Ugh, that rat's tail wriggling. 5 bob I gave, corpus paradisum. Corn cake croaker, belly like a poisoned pup. Gone. They sing, forgotten. I too. And one day she with. Leave her, get tired. Suffer then snivel, big Spanishy eyes goggling at nothing. Her wave, yave, heavy hair, uncombed. Yet, too much happy bores. He stretched more and more. Are you not happy in your twang? It snapped. Jingle into Dorset Street. Miss Douce withdrew her satiny arm, reproachful, pleased. Don't make half so free, she said, till we are better acquainted. George Lidwell told her really and truly, but she did not believe. First gentleman told Mina that it was so. She asked him that was that so, and second tankard told her so, that was so. Miss Douce, Miss Lydia did not believe. Miss Kennedy, Nina did not believe. George Lidwell, no, Miss Doo did not. The first gent with the tank, believe, no, did not. Miss Ken, Lidley dia well, the tank. Better write it here. Quills in the post office chewed and twisted. Bald Pat at a sign drew nigh. A pen and ink he went. A pad he went. A pad to blot he heard, deaf Pat. Yes, Mr. Bloom said, teasing the curling catgut line. It certainly is. Few lines will do. My present, all that Italian florid music is. Who is this wrote? Know the name you know better. Take out sheet note paper, envelope, unconcerned. It's so characteristic. Grandest number in the whole opera, Goulding said. It is, Bloom said. Numbers it is, all music when you come to think of it. 2 multiplied by 2 divided by half is twice 1. Vibrations, chords those are. 1 plus 2 plus 6 is 7. Do anything you like with figures juggling. Always find out this equal to that. Symmetry under a cemetery wall. He doesn't see my mourning, callous for all his own gut. Muse mathematics. And you think you're listening to the ethereal. But suppose you said it like that. Martha, 7 times 9 minus times is 35,000. 4 quite flat. It's on account of the sound. It is. Instance he's playing now, improvising, might be what you like till you hear the words. Want to listen sharp, hard, begin all right, then hear chords a bit off, feel lost a bit, in and out of sacks, over barrels, through wire fences, obstacle race, time makes the tune. Question of mood you're in. Still, always nice to hear. Except scales up and down, girls learning, 2 together next door neighbors ought to invent dummy pianos for that. Millie, no taste. Queer because we both, Lumen lied, I bought for her. The name, playing it slow. A girl, night I came home. The girl. Door of the stables near Cecilia Street. Bald, deaf Pat, brought quite flat pad ink. Pat said with ink pen, quite flat pad. Pat took plate, dish, knife, fork. Pat went. It was the only language, Mr. Dedalus said to Ben. He heard them in a boy in a Ringabella, Crosshaven. Ringabella singing their barcaroles. Queenstown harbor full of Italian ships, walking, you know, Ben. In the moonlight with those earthquake hats, blending their voices. God, such music. Ben. Heard as a boy, Cross Ringabella Haven, Moon Carol. Sour pipe removed, he held a shield of hand beside his lips that cooed a moonlight night call, clear from anear, a call from afar, replying. Down the edge of his Freeman baton ranged blooms. Your other eye scanning for where did I see that? Callan, Coleman, Dignam, Patrick. Hi-ho, Fawcett. Aha, just I was looking. Hope he's not looking. Cute as a rat, he held unfurled his. Freeman, can't see now. Remember, right Greek ease. Bloom dipped. Bloomer, dear sir. Dear Henry wrote, Dear Maddie, got your Latin flow. Hell did I put it? Some pack or other, it's utterly impasse. Underline impasse to write today. Bore this board. Bloom tambourine gently with I am just reflecting fingers on flat pad Pat brought. On. Know what I mean? No, change that E. Except my poor lit prez enclose. Ask her no answer. Hold on. 5 deek. 2 about here. Penny the gulls. Elisha's come. 7 Davy Burns is about 8. Say half a crown. My poor little prez. P.O. 2 and 6. Write me along. Do you despise? Jingle, have you thee? So excited. Why do you call me not? You naughty too? Oh, Mary lost the string of her. Bye for today. Yes, we'll tell you. Want to keep it up. Call me that other world, she wrote. My patients are exhaust. To keep it up, you must believe the tank. It is true. Folly am I writing. Husbands don't, that's marriage does. Their wives, because I'm away from suppose. But how? She must keep young. If she found out. Card in my high grade. Ha! No, not tell all. Useless pain if they don't see. Woman. Sauce for the gander. A hackney car, number 324, driver Barton James, of number 1 Harmony Avenue, Donnybrook, on which sat a fair, a young man stylishly dressed in an indigo blue serge suit made by George Robert Messias, tailor and cutter, of number 5 Eden Quay, and wearing a straw hat, very dressy, bought of John Plasto, of number 1 Great Brunswick Suite. Hatter, eh? This is the jingle that joggled and jingled. By Douglas's pork shop, bright tubes of Agendath trotted a gallant buttocked mare. Answering an ad? Keen Richie's eyes asked Bloom. Yes, Mr. Bloom said. Town traveler, nothing doing, I expect. Bloomer, best references. But Henry wrote, it will excite me, you know how. In haste, Henry, Greek E. Better add postscript. What is he playing now? Improvising. Intermezzo. P.S. The rum-tum-tum. How will you pun? You punish me? Crooked skirts swinging whack by. Tell me I want to know. No, oh, course if I didn't I wouldn't ask. La-la-la-ree. Trails off there, sad and minor. Why minor sad? Sign H. They like sad till it ain't. P.P.S. La-la-la-ree. I feel so sad today. La-ree. So lonely. D. He blotted quick on pad of pat. Envil, address. Just copy out of paper, murmured. Messrs. Callan, Coleman and Company Limited. Henry wrote Miss Martha Clifford, in care of Post Office, Dolphin's Barn Lane, Dublin. Blot over the other so he can't read. There, right. Idea prize tidbit. Something detective read off blotting pad. Payment at the rate of guinea per coal. Matcham often thinks the laughing witch. Poor Mrs. Purefoy. U.P. Up. Too poetical that about the sad. Music did that. Music hath charms, Shakespeare said. Quotations every day in the year. To be or not to be, wisdom while you wait. In Gerard's rosary of Fetter Lane he walks. Grade Auburn. One life is all, one body. Do, but do. Done anyhow, postal order stamp, post office lower down, walk now, enough. Barney Kiernan's, I promised to meet them. Dislike that job, house of mourning. Walk, Pat. Doesn't hear, deaf beetle he is. Car near there now. Talk. Pat! Doesn't. Settling those napkins, lot of ground he must cover in a day. Paint face behind on him, then he'd be two. Wish they'd sing more, keep my mind off. Pat bawled, Pat, who is bothered, mitered the napkins. Pat is a waiter hard of his hearing. Pat is a waiter who waits while you wait. He. He waits while you wait. He. A waiter is he. He. He waits while you wait. While you wait, if you wait, he will wait while you wait. He. Ho, wait while you wait. Deuce now. Deuce Lydia, bronze and rose. She had a gorgeous, simply gorgeous time, and look at the lovely shells she bought. To the end of the bar, to him, she bore lightly the spiked and winding sea horn, that he, George Lidwell, solicitor, might hear. Listen, she bade him. Under Tom Kernan's gin-shot words, the accompanist wove slow music. Authentic fact. How Walter Bapty lost his voice. Well, sir, the husband took him by the throat. Scoundrel, he said, you'll sing no more love songs. He did, faith, Sir Tom. Bob Cowley wove, tenors got wom. Cowley lay back. Ah, now he heard. She holding it to his ear. Here. He heard. Wonderful. She held it to her own, and through the sifted light pale gold in contrast gilded, to hear. Tap. Bloom, through the bar door, saw a shell held at their ears. He heard more faintly that they heard, each for herself alone, then each for other, hearing the plash of waves loudly, a silent roar. Bronze by weary gold, an ear afar, they listened. Her ear too is a shell, the peeping lobe there. Been to the seaside, lovely seaside girls, skin tanned raw. Should have put on the cold cream first, make it brown, buttered toast, oh, and that lotion mustn't forget, fever near her mouth. Your head, it's simply, hair braided over, shell with seaweed. Why do they hide their ears with seaweed hair? And Turks the mouth. Why? Her eyes over the sheet. Yashmak, find the way in. A cave. No admittance except on business. The sea they think they hear. Singing, a roar. The blood it is, souse in the ear sometimes. Well, it's a sea. Corpuscle Islands. Wonderful, really, so distinct. Again George Lidwell had its murmur. Hearing, then laid it by, gently. What are the waves saying? He asked her. Smiled. Charming sea smiling and unanswering Lydia on Lidwell smiled. Tap. By Larry O'Rourke's, by Larry, bold Larry, oh. Boylan swayed and Boylan turned. From the forsaken shell, Miss Mina glided to her tankards waiting. No, she was not so lonely. Archly Miss Douce's head let Mr. Lidwell know. Walks in the moonlight by the sea. No, not alone. With whom? She nobly answered. With a gentleman friend. Bob Cowley's twinkling fingers in the treble played again. The landlord has the prior. A little time. Long John, Big Ben, lightly he played a light, bright, tinkling measure for tripping ladies, arch and smiling, and for their gallants, gentlemen friends. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 4. Sea, wind, leaves, thunder, waters, cows lowing, the cattle market, cocks, hens don't crow, snakes hiss. There's music everywhere, Rutledge's door, creaking. No, that's noise. Minuet of Don Giovanni he's playing now. Court dresses of all descriptions in castle chambers dancing. Misery, peasants outside, green starving faces eating dock leaves. Nice that is. Look, 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 look. You look at us. That's joyful, I can feel. Never have written it. Why? My joy is other joy, but both joys are joys. Yes, joy it must be. Mere fact of music shows you are. Often thought she was in the dumps till she began to lilt. Then no. McCoy's valise, my wife and your wife, squealing cat like tearing silk. Tongue when she talks like the clapper of a bellows. They can't manage men's intervals. Gap in their voices too, filmy and warm, dark, open. Mali in quis est homo. Mercandante. My ear against the wall to hear. Want a woman who can deliver the goods. Jog, jig, jogged, stopped. Dandy tan shoe of dandy doylin, socks, sky blue clocks, came light to earth. Oh, look, we are so. Chamber music. Could make a kind of pun on that. It is a kind of music, I often thought, when acoustics that is, tinkling, empty vessels make most noise. Because the acoustics, the resonance changes, according as the weight of the water is equal to the law of falling water. Like those rhapsodies of Liszt's, Hungarian, gypsy-eyed, pearls, drops, rain, diddle, idle, addle, ladle, oodle, loodle, lioldu, hiss, now, maybe now, before. One rapped on a door, one tapped with a knock. Did he knock Paul de Cock with a proud, loud knocker with a cock, caracaracaracacock, cock, tap? Qui snegno, Ben, said Father Cowley. No, Ben, Ton Kernan interfered, the croppy boy, our native Doric. Aye, do, Ben, Mr. Dedalus said. Good men and true. Do, they begged in one. I'll go. Here, Pat, return. Come, he came, he did not stay. To me, how much? What key? 6 sharps? F sharp major, Ben Dullard said. Bob Cowley's outstretched talons griped the black, deep-sounding chords. Must go, Prince Bloom told Richie Prince. No, Richie said. Yes, must. Got money somewhere. He's on for a razzle backache spree. Much. He hears lip speech. 1 and 9. Penny for yourself. Here, give him 2 pence tip. Deaf, bothered, but perhaps he has a wife and family waiting. Waiting Paddy come home. He. Deaf wait while they wait. But here, chords dark. Lugubrious, low. In a cave of the dark middle earth, embedded ore, lump music. The voice of dark age, of unlove. Earth's fatigue made grave approach and painful, come from afar, from hoary mountains, called on good men and true. The priest he sought, with him would he speak a word. Tap. Ben Dollard's voice, bass barrel tone, doing his level best to say it, croak of vast, manless, moonless, womoonless marsh. Other come down, big ships, Chandler's business he did once, remember? Roisiny ropes, ship's lanterns, failed to the tune of 10,000 pounds. Now, in the Iveg home, cubicle number so-and-so. Number 1 bastard that for him. The priest's at home. A false priest-servant bade him welcome. Step in, the Holy Father, with bows a traitor servant, curlicues of cords. Ruin them, wreck their lives, then build them cubicles to end their days in. Hush, baby, lullaby, die, dog, little dog, die. The voice of a warning, solemn warning, told them the youth had entered a lonely hall, told them how solemn fell his footsteps there, told them the gloomy chamber, the vested priest sitting to shrive. Decent soul, bedaddled now. Thinks he'll win in, answers poet's picture puzzle. We hand you crisp 5-pound note, bird sitting hatching in a nest, lay of the last minstrel he thought he was, C blank T-Watt domestic animal, T-dash or most courageous mariner. Good voice he has still, no eunuch yet with all his belongings. Listen. Bloom listened, Richie Goulding listened, and by the door deaf Pat, bald Pat, tipped Pat listened. The chords harped slower. The voice of penance and of grief came slow, embellished, tremulous. Ben's contrite beard confessed. In nomine Domini, in God's name he knelt. He beat his hand upon his breast, confessing, mea culpa. Latin again, that holds them like bird time. Priest with the communion corpus for those women. Chap in the mortuary, coffin or coffee, corpus nomine. Wonder where that rat is now. Scrape. Tap. They listened. Tankards and Miss Kennedy, George Lidwell, eyelid well expressive, full-busted satin, Kernan, sigh. The sighing voice of sorrow sang his sin. Since Easter he had cursed 3 times, you bitches bast. And once, at mass time, he had gone to play. Once by the churchyard he had passed, and for his mother's rest he had not prayed. A boy, a croppy boy, bronze listening by the beer pool, gazed far away, soulfully, doesn't half know I'm. Molly great dab at seeing anyone looking. Bronze gazed far sideways. Mirror there, is that the best side of her face? They always know. Knock at the door, last tip to titivate. Kak, kara, kara. What do they think when they hear music? Way to catch rattlesnakes. Night Michael Gunn gave us the box. Tuning up, Shah of Persia liked that best. Remind him of home, sweet home. Wiped his nose in a curtain too. Custom his country perhaps. That's music too. Not as bad as it sounds. Tootling. Brasses braying asses through up trunks. Double basses, helpless gashes in their sides. Woodwinds wooing cows. Semi-grand open crocodile music hath jaws. Woodwind like Goodwin's name. She looked fine. Her crocus dress she wore low cut, belongings on show. Clove her breath was always in theater when she bent to ask a question. Told her what Spinoza says in that book of poor papas. Hypnotized, listening, eyes like that. She bent, chap in dress circle staring down into her with his opera glass for all he was worth. Beauty of music. You must hear twice. Nature woman half a look. God made the country, man the tune. Met him pike hoses, philosophy, oh rocks. All gone, all fallen. At the siege of Ross his father, at Gorey all his brothers fell. To Wexford, we are the boys of Wexford, he would. Last of his name and race, I too. Last of my race. Millie, young student, well, my fault perhaps. No son. Rudy. Too late now. Or if still? He bore no hate. Hate, love, those are names, Rudy. Soon I am old. Big Ben, his voice unfolded, great voice, Richie Goulding said, a flush struggling in his pale. To bloom, soon old. But when was young? Ireland comes now, my country above the king. She listens. Who fears to speak of 1904? Time to be shoving. Looked enough. Bless me, father. Dollard the croppy cried, bless me and let me go. Tap. Bloom looked, unblessed to go. Got up to kill. On 18 bob a week. Fellows shell out the dibs. Want to keep your weather eye open. Those girls, those lovely. By the sad sea waves, chorus girls' romance. Letters read out for breach of promise from Chickabiddy's Oni, Mumsy-Pum, laughter in court. Henry, I never signed it. The lovely name you. Low sank the music, air and words. Then hastened the false priest rustling soldier from his cassock. A Yeoman captain. They know it all by heart. The thrill they itch for. Yeoman cap. Tap, tap. Thrilled, she listened, bending in sympathy to hear. Blank face, virgin should say, or fingered only. Write something on it, page, if not what becomes of them. Decline, despair, keeps them young, even admire themselves, see, play on her, lip blow. Body of white woman, a flute alive, blow, gentle, loud. 3 holes, all women, goddess I didn't see. They want it. Not too much polite. That's why he gets them. Gold in your pocket, brass in your face. Say something. Make her hear. With look to look. Songs without words. Molly, that hurdy-gurdy boy. She knew he meant the monkey was sick, or because so like the Spanish. Understand animals too that way. Solomon did. Gift of nature. Ventriloquize, my lips closed. Think in my stom, what? Will you? I you, too. With horse-rude fury the Yowman cursed, swelling in apoplectic bitch's bastard, a good thought, boy, to come, 1 hour's your time to live, your last tap, tap. Thrill now, pity they feel, to wipe away a tear for martyrs that want to die, dying to die, for all things dying, for all things born. Poor Mrs. Purefoy. Hope she's over, because their wombs, a liquid of womb of woman eyeball gazed, under offensive lashes, calmly hearing. See real beauty of the eye when she not speaks. On yonder river, at each slow, satiny, heaving bosom's wave, her heaving embon. Red rose, rose, slowly sank red rose, heartbeats her breath, breath that is life. And all the tiny, tiny fern foils trembled of maidenhair. But look, the bright stars fade. O rose, Castile, the morn. Ha, Lidwell, for him then, not for. Infatuated, I like that. See her from here, though. Popped corks, splashes of beer froth, stacks of empties. On the smooth jutting beer pool laid Lydia hand, lightly, plumply. Leave it to my hands, all lost in pity for Croppy. Fro, to, fro, over the polished knob, she knows his eyes, my eyes, her eyes. Her thumb and finger passed in pity, passed, reposed and gently touching, then slid so smoothly, slowly down, a cool, firm, white enamel baton protruding through their sliding ring. With a cock, with a cara, tap, tap, tap. I hold this house, amen, he gnashed in fury. Traitor swing, the cords consented, very sad thing, but had to be. Get out before the end, thanks, that was heavenly. Where's my hat? Pass by her, can't leave that Freeman. Let her I have. Suppose she were thee, no. Walk, walk, walk. Like Cashel Boylo, Conero, Coilo, Tisdale Maurice, Tinsdale Farrow. Walk. Well, I must be. Are you off? Yurms bites. Blimps up. Or I high blue. Ow. Bloom stood up. Soap feeling rather sticky behind. Must have sweated. Music, that lotion. Remember, well, so long. High grade, card inside, yes. By deaf Pat in the doorway, straining ear, Bloom passed. At Geneva barrack that young man died. At passage was his body laid. Dolor, oh, he dolores. The voice of the mournful chanter called to dolorous prayer. By rose, by satiny bosom, by the fondling hand, by slops, by empties, by popped corks, greeting and going, past eyes and maidenhair, bronze and faint gold, in deep sea shadow, went Bloom, soft Bloom. I feel so lonely, Bloom. Tap, tap, tap. Pray for him, pray for the bass of Dollard. You who hear in peace, breathe a prayer, drop a prayer, good men, good people. He was the Croppy boy. Scaring eavesdropping boots, Croppy boots boy Bloom, in the Ormond hallway, heard the growls and roars of Bravo, fat back-slapping their boots, all treading, boots, not the boots, the boy. General chorus off for a swill to wash it down. Glad I avoided. Come on, Ben, Simon Dedalus cried. By God, you're as good as ever you were. Better, said Tom and Kernan. Most trenchant rendition of that ballad, upon my soul and honor it is. La Blache, said Father Cowley. Ben Dullard bulkily kaushkashab towards the bar, mightily praise-fed and all big roseate on heavy-footed feet, his gouty fingers knackering castanets in the air. Big Ben Dollard, Big Ben, Big Ben. And deep moved all, Simon trumping compassion from Fognose horn, all laughing they brought him forth, Ben Dollard in right good cheer. You're looking rubicund, George Lidwell said. Miss Douce composed her rose to wait. Ben Macree, said Dedalus, clapping Ben's fat back shoulder blade. Fit as a fiddle. Only he has a lot of adipose tissue concealed about his person. Arrgh. Fat of death, Simon, Ben Gullard growled. Richie riffed and the lute alone sat. Goulding, Collis, Ward, uncertainly he waited. Unpaid pat too. Tap, 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 tap. Miss Mina Kennedy brought near her lips to ear of Tankard one. Mr. Dollard, they murmured low. Dollard murmured Tankard. Tank one believed, Miss Ken when she, that doll he was, she doll, the tank. He murmured that he knew the name. The name was familiar to him, that was to say he had heard the name of. Dollard, was it? Dollard, yes. Yes, her lips said more loudly. Mr. Dollard, he sang that song lovely, murmured Mina. Mr. Dollard, and that last rose of summer was a lovely song. Mina loved that song. Tankard loved the song that Mina. 'Tis the last rose of summer Dollard left bloom, felt wind wound round inside. Gassy thing that cider, binding too. Wait, post office near Reuben J's 1 and 8 too. Get shut of it. Dodge round by Greek Street. Wish I hadn't promised to meet. Freer in the air. Music. Gets on your nerves. Beer pull. Her hand that rocks the cradle rules the Ben Houth, that rules the world. Far, 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 far. Tap, 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 tap. Up the quay went Lionel Leopold, naughty Henry with letter from Addie, with sweets of sin, with frillies for Raoul, with met him pike hoses went Poldion. Tap-lined walk tapping by the tap, the curbstone tapping tap by tap. Cowley, he stuns himself with it, kind of drunkenness. Better give way, only halfway, the way of a man with a maid. Instance enthusiasts, all ears, not lose a demi-semi-quaver. Eyes shut, head nodding in time. Dotty, you daren't budge. Thinking strictly prohibited, always talking shop, fiddle-faddle about notes. All a kind of attempt to talk. Unpleasant when it stops because you never know exact. Organ in Gardner Street, old Glen, 50 quid a year. Queer up there in the cockloft alone, with stops and locks and keys. Seated all day at the organ, mounder on for hours, talking to himself or the other fellow, blowing the bellows, growl angry, then shriek cursing. Want to have wadding or something in his no, don't, she cried. Then all of a sudden, soft sudden, wee, little pipey wind, pwee, a wee little wind pipey in Bloom's little wee. Was he? Mr. Dedalus said, returning with fetched pipe. I was with him this morning at poor little Paddy Dignam's. Aye, the Lord have mercy on him. By the by, there's a tuning fork in there on the tap, 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 tap. The wife has a fine voice, or had. What? Lidwell asked. Oh, that must be the tuner, Lydia said to Simon Lionel. First I saw, forgot it when he was here. Blind he was, she told George Little. Second I saw, and played so exquisitely. Treat to hear, exquisite contrast. Bronze lid, Mingna fold. Shout! Ben Dullard shouted, pouring out. Sing out! I'll do, cried Father Cowley. Arrrrrrr. I feel, I want. Tap, 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 tap. Very, Mr. Dedalus said, staring hard at a headless sardine. Under the sandwich bell lay on a bier of bread one lonely last sardine of summer. Bloom alone. Very, he stared the lower register for choice. Tap, 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 tap. Bloom went by Barry's. Wish I could. Wait. That wonder worker, if I had 24 solicitors in that one house, counted them, litigation, love one another, piles of parchment. Messieurs Pick and Pocket have power of attorney, Goulding, Collis, Ward. But, for example, the chap that wallops the big drum, his vocation, Mickey Rooney's band. Wonder how it first struck him, sitting at home after pig's cheek and cabbage, nursing it in the armchair, rehearsing his band part, pom petty. Jolly for the wife, asses' skins, welt them through life, then wallop after death, wallop. Seems to be what you call yashmak, or kismet, fate. Tap, tap, a stripling blind, with a tapping cane came tap-tap-tapping by Dally's window, where a mermaid hair all streaming, but he couldn't see, blew whiffs of mermaid, blind couldn't, mermaid coolest whiff of all. Instruments, a blade of grass, shell of her hands, then blow. Even comb and tissue paper you can knock a tune out of. Molly in her shift in Lombard Street West, hair down. I suppose each kind of trade made its own, don't you see? Hunter with a horn, haw. Have you the cloche? Sonnez lad. Shepherd his pipe, pwee little wee. Police a whistle, locks and keys, sweep. 4 o'clock's, all's well. Sleep, all is lost now. Drum? Pompetti. Wait, I know. Town crier. Bumba bailiff. Bum bailiff, Long John, waken the dead. Pom dignum, poor little nomine domini. Pom, it is music. I mean, of course, it's all pom, pom, pom. Very much what they call da capo. Still, you can hear. As we march along. March along. Pom. I must really. Now, if I did that at a banquet, just a question of custom, Shah of Persia, breathe a prayer, drop a tear, all the same, he must have been a bit of a natural, not to see it was a Yowman cap, muffled up. Wonder who was that chap at the grave in the brown mason. Oh, the whore of the lane. A frowsy whore with black straw sailor hat askew came glazily in the day along the quay towards Mr. Bloom. When first he saw that form endearing, yes, it is, I feel so lonely. What night in the lane, horn? Who had the he-haw she-saw? Off her beat here. What is she? Hope she. Psst. Any chance of your wash? New Molly. Had me decked. Stout lady does be with you in the brown costume. Put you off your stroke, that. Appointment we made knowing we'd never, well, hardly ever. Too dear, too near to home, sweet home. Sees me, does she? Looks a fright in the day. Face like dip, damn her. Oh well, she has to live like the rest. Look in here. In Lionel Mark's antique sale shop window, haughty Henry Lionel Leopold, dear Henry Flower, earnestly Mr. Leopold Bloom, envisaged battered candlesticks, melodeon oozing maggoty blow bags. Bargain, 6 bob. Might learn to play. Cheap. Let her pass. Course everything is dear if you don't want it. That's what a good salesman is. Make you buy what he wants to sell. Chap sold me the Swedish razor he shaved me with. Wanted to charge me for the edge he gave it. She's passing now. 6 bob. Must be the cider, or perhaps the Burgund. Near bronze from a near gold from afar, they chinked their clinking glasses all, bright-eyed and gallant, before bronze Lydia's tempting last rose of summer, rose of Castile. First lid, D, cow, cur, doll, a 5th, Lidwell, Cy Dedalus, Bob Cowley, Kernan, and Big Ben Dollard. Tap. A youth entered a lonely Ormond hall. Bloom viewed a gallant pictured hero in Lionel Marks's window. Robert Emmett's last words, 7 last words, of Meyerbeer, that is. True men like you men. Aye, Ben. Will lift your glass with us. They lifted. Chink, chunk, tip. An unseeing stripling stood in the door. He saw not bronze, he saw not gold, nor Ben, nor Bob, nor Tom, nor Cy, nor George, nor Tanks, nor Richie, nor Pat. He did not see. Sea Bloom, Grease Bloom, viewed last words softly. When my country takes her place among. Must be the burr. Nations of the earth. No one behind. She's past. Then, and not till then, tram, cran, good up whore. Coming. Crandall, cran. I'm sure it's the Burgund, yes. 1, 2, let my epitaph be. Cra, written I have. Done.